How's it going, everybody? I'm actually not doing a movie review, a Blu-ray haul, a trailer reaction, or any of the other things I do on this channel. I'm actually doing a tag, because I was tagged actually twice, but the first time I didn't notice. I'm sorry about that, but first I got tagged by Ashley over at the Movie Oracle. I'll leave her link down in the description down below. I also just recently was tagged by the BS Review, Brittany and Steven, so also leave their link down below if you want to check out their videos. But, yeah, I like horror films. I mean, I don't talk about it much on my channel, but I should probably. It'll be more so when Halloween comes around. But anyways, just going to dive into these questions. We'll see what happens. Now, the first question was favorite standalone slasher. And these aren't slashers, these are honorable mentions. But Oculus and Drag Me to Hell are probably my two honorable mentions, even though they're not like slasher films. But if I went with a slasher, I'd have to go with probably Black Christmas. It did get remade in 2006, but it never got any sequels, and it came out in the 70s, and this is the film that most people say is the first slasher film, although that's kind of debatable. But still, I mean, all the usual horror tropes you see in any horror film, you know, you see it in this film. I mean, the crazy thing about this film is the fact that you never find out who the killer is, and when does that ever happen in any horror film you ever see nowadays? Like, you see him once or twice in the shadows, and it's kind of creepy, but he goes around this sorority killing all these people. We're actually played by some pretty well-known actors, because you got Margot Kidder and Olivia Hussey in this, and also John Saxon, but he's not in the sorority. But it's just got all this typical horror tropes you expect from any slasher that went on from this film, and I mean, I just really enjoyed it. And I'm really surprised still that it never got any sequels. I mean, the remake kind of ruined it in 2006, and you find out who the killer is immediately, and he has this really horrible backstory. But that's a whole other story. We don't want to talk about the 2006 remake of Black Christmas. Next question was favorite final girl. I was going to put Jamie Lee Curtis in this, but I didn't know if that really was like cheating or not, because she's died and came back multiple times throughout the Halloween franchise. So my other pick was Sidney Prescott from the Scream franchise, because she doesn't actually start out as like this great epic final girl, but by the end of the movie, and she gets so much character development, and Sidney Prescott's just such a badass. Neve Campbell just plays the role perfectly. I almost felt like this was a no-brainer, because she wasn't just a final girl in the first movie, but she was a final girl in all 4 films. She didn't die. She's a boss. I mean, how many people do you know that are the final girl in 4 movies and live? The next question was favorite slasher mask. I kind of wanted to go more obscure with this one, because, I mean, you already know all the iconic ones like Jason and Michael Myers and all them. I wanted to go with the mask from Alice, Sweet Alice. I don't know a lot of people that know that movie, but it's fairly popular. But that mask with that, like, weird smoky eyeshadow, and it's, like, translucent, and it's just really creepy, combining that with the raincoat, and, like, you think the murderer is a child, and there's just a lot of factors that make this whole weird mask really creepy. I highly recommend seeing Alice, Sweet Alice. It's not like a classic, really, but it's actually a really good film. I don't think a lot of people actually respect it as much as they do. It came out in the 70s, but yeah, that mask always gave me the, creeps. Next question is favorite horror setting. If I had to pick, I just like old Dark House movies. I mean, they're kind of generic for the most part, but I just really like the whole creepy atmosphere of those films. If they're pulled off well, they actually are, pretty creepy, but they're not really done that well usually. But yeah, that's probably my favorite. The next question was favorite slasher kill. There's probably so many of these that I could make like entire lists about it, but I'm just gonna go with 2. The honorable mention is from Friday the 13th 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, when Jason is fighting that guy and he literally punches the dude's head off and it bounces all around and lands in a giant trash can. Like, the absurdity of that is just one of those kills that's so memorable. I mean, that's probably not his most memorable kill in the whole franchise, actually. There's many others. But that's just one that always stuck out to me, is how absurd that happened. But number 1 is probably how it came to mind was Hatchet, the old woman running away from Victor Crowley in the original Hatchet film, just because it caught me so off guard, and then it's just so gory. I refuse to show that on my channel, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, definitely look it up on here. But he literally grabs this chick by the roof of her mouth and rips her head like that way. It goes that way, like rips it open, like jaw. It's so ridiculous, and like the way it's shot, it looks so realistic and but absurd at the same time, and it's just like a oh my god kind of moment. That's probably why it's my favorite, but I mean, if we're going by like shock value, that's probably my favorite. Next question is worst slasher ever made. I mean, there's so many slasher movies that are so horrible, but If I had to think of two, one's honorable mention, probably Jack Frost. Not the Michael Keaton family film, but there's actually a horror film based around a snowman that goes around killing people, Jack Frost, and it's probably one of the worst, most absurd movies you'll ever see. I mean, it's a snowman going around killing people. Do I really need to explain why that's really dumb? But my actual number one, like, worst slasher, at least that I've seen, is Cry Wolf. It came out in 2005. It actually starred Jared Padalecki with, it came out right as Supernatural started. So it was like, this is the guy we had this illustrious career in Supernatural, this guy. But he's not like the main star of the film. It's just like a really dumb, generic slasher movie with a bunch of fake outs, and the actual killer in the movie is really dumb. If you can even really call it a killer, because it's like a weird made up cyber kind of thing they threw in as like a joke, because they created a serial killer with they made up stories on the internet, and they gave him this weird, really stupid look. And early stages of the internet and film in general is just not work very well. Also, John Bon Jovi, from Bon Jovi, has a major role in this film as one of the professors, and it's John Bon Jovi. Why is he in this movie? And finally, the last question was my favorite nude scene. I don't really have many favorite nude scenes, if I'm being honest, but when I think of them, I'm going back to Hatchet again, the second one, where this chick and this guy are having sex in the woods, and Victor Crowley walks up and just cuts his head off as they're having sex, and it's very gratuitous nudity and parts, and it's just really over the top. I think that's part of why I guess that would be my favorite if I had to pick a favorite nude scene, but I don't really have a favorite nude scene. So yeah, those are just my answers to the horror tag. I definitely appreciate Ashley and Brittany and Steven for tagging me in this, but yeah, thanks for doing that. Also, thanks for everybody that were checking out my video. I guess if I'm gonna tag people, I'll tag Rudy from Rudy's Movie Reviews, because I know he likes horror films. If you look at the background in any of his videos, he has plenty of horror memorabilia. Douglas Beamer, I think he would do a good job with this, and I'll tag Fraser as well, just because I want to. I just want him to make a video, because he doesn't make very many videos. So yeah, that was it. Thank you for checking it out. Until the next time, I'll see you guys later.